Call to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nikki, if you'd be so kind, would you be able to do the roll call?
I would love to wade. Mr. Walper.
Here.
Darcy. Here. Nikki is here. Danielle. Here. Paige. Here. Brandon.
Here.
Eric Morgan is not here. Mr. Genevico.
I'm here. Are you asking about Mr. Morgan?
No.
Here.
Yeah.
Does anyone know where Mr. Morgan is? We're moving on without him. Okay then. All right. Adjustments, agenda adjustments and approval. So we'll need approval for this. So if someone could just motion this in.
Second.
Motion's been moved by Darcy and seconded by Danny. I'll give her that one. All in favor of the agenda adjustment signify by saying aye.
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 Sorry, that was a surprise. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes for the agenda adjustment. Any announcements? Does not look like we have any. Any community input? Hello, community? No input from them. Student board member report.
Don't have one.
We don't have one. Will we be having one?
Hopefully.
That's a good answer. Okay. Board member reports. Darcy.
The policy team has been working hard. We got a whole bunch of them on this month's agenda, so those look good, and we can talk about that more as we get there. Thank you, Mandy. She came up with a super slick way to get these done. I think it's going well. Do you think it's going well? That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Nikki.
Health and safety meeting we had early in the month. We reviewed the April meeting minutes. There were no, I guess, conjunction. They had a mock OSHA the following week in all buildings. That should have been successful, is my understanding. Health and safety will be adding AED outside the main gym doors. The AWARE initiative, which is statutory, met their deadline. If anybody needs to know more about what AWARE is, there were emails and information that went out last month, I believe. We talked about mold in buildings. I don't think that they've found mold in our buildings, but it is an issue in other buildings that aren't necessarily in our district. But they talked about airflow and humidity and things that we need to be cognizant of when with sensors or providing more airflow during the summer months. Our next meeting is December 10th. And unfortunately, Dan Fitch has accepted another position within his organization. So Becky Fitzgerald will be taking his place. Through the remainder of this year, she will be attending meetings with him at the health and safety meetings. So that's all I have for that.
Okay. Thank you. Danny?
No report.
Okay. Brandon, any updates from you?
No report.
Paige? No report from me as well. All right, we can move on to the administrative report. Oh, yes.
Actually, I think we're at the audit. If we can do the audit before with the adjustment. If we can do the audit presentation before we go to administrative reports.
I'm okay with that.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that. Are we logging?
I can talk for 2 more minutes.
Thank you, Darcy, for that. And then we will so know
We are. We're 1 minute short, right?
He is on.
Okay.
So his name is Randy, and he'll be joining us virtually. Luke? Who said Randy?
You did.
I swear to God, I heard Randy.
I bet he doesn't look like a Randy.
I've had bad luck with Randy.
He looks like a Luke.
Oh, Wade.
Can you hear us, Luke? Yep.
Godspeed. We're good. Any questions for Luke?
Thank you for being so thorough.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Luke.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Administrative reports. How about a high school?
What a high school. So I have to reread this because it's been a while and a lot's happened. But so it's been a while since our last meeting. Just kind of the big things we've done. We have our career college readiness, which has been a big push over the last few years. Since our last meeting, 3 out of our 4 grade levels have had kind of big events. So we took all of our 9th and 10th graders out to Caledonia, and they got to explore a lot of CTE trades. Military branches were also there. Some of the tech schools were there. A whole bunch of different opportunities for kids to kind of explore. The one that was a huge hit that was kind of surprising is they got to cut and then affix tile, like bathroom tile, kitchen tile. Brandon, your daughter actually absolutely loved that and spent probably a half hour there. It was really neat to see. Like that was something that people really enjoyed. I didn't expect. So it's just neat seeing that. And then our juniors went over to UWL for a college fair, and then also did a tour of TC over in La Crosse. So kind of getting the 2 ends of the spectrum of a 4-year school and a tech school, kind of getting to see both of them in the same day. So that's something that we're doing with all of our grades. They kind of get their own opportunities. So for those 3 grades, they just happen to fall in September. So that's going on for kind of all the way through. Homecoming obviously occurred. It went very, very well. We had a whole bunch of different things, obviously, during the week. Hallways are still somewhat decorated, so if you kind of walk through, you'll see some remnants of that decoration. The kids actually like them staying up as long as they can. So, and one thing that like staff kind of commented on that, 5 years ago, those would have ripped down within 2 days. And now they'll stay up for weeks or months, just because they kind of like it. So that's neat to see. But overall, homecoming went very well. The only complaint was it was really warm on Friday, but we obviously can't fix that. So things went well. One kind of interesting piece is that typically we've seen a lot of absenteeism on that day, where it's actually been our highest absenteeism day of the whole school year. That didn't happen this year. So not really sure why, but we didn't see any more absences than we see in any normal day in September. So just kind of a unique little piece. But thank you to our student council advisors, who were Tammy Schmitz and Abigail Keenan, and then FCCLA runs the dance, and that was Rachel Kinsey. So a huge thank you to them. Academic side, we did have, and some of you know because your kids are in Spanish, but we did have an unexpected resignation. So that's kind of put a little interruption into our Spanish instruction. We have an online platform that should be starting on Monday of next week. We're interviewing tomorrow for a long-term sub to kind of be the one who's in the room with them doing that. So we're hopefully close to having a solution. Online curriculum is never the best solution, but it's the best that we can do at this point in time. You obviously can't conjure up a Spanish licensed teacher, especially in the middle of October. So doing what we can there, but that has been a little bit of a hiccup. The other piece, and actually ties into the audit and the information that was there, we have seen an uptick in our special education enrollments. So students coming in after the start of the year who have IEPs, and then we're trying to figure out how can we service those students. And I know it's not unique to the high school either. So trying to find staff, whether it's additional paras or increasing caseloads for our special education teachers, that has been something that's been a little bit of a stressor as well. So, and then kind of wrapping up with, and unfortunately they lost last night, so their season is now over. But this month's spotlight is on our girls soccer team, who had a fantastic season. They actually went, an extended period of time, almost 2 months without a loss. Because prior to last night, their previous last loss was September 8th. So they went an extended period of time without losing. They were the first girls team in over a decade to be in the state tournament for any sport. So that was huge. But the other piece is that these are phenomenal human beings in and out of the classroom. Over half the team has a 4.0 GPA, which is ridiculous. fabulous.
It's amazing.
And they are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. They're polite, they cheer on each other, they cheer on the other team sometimes. Like, they are fantastic. So they are great examples, and congratulations to them and Coach Berger on a great season.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
Thank you,
that's
Jacob.
it.
Brandon.
I was wondering if you could comment on, you said, however, most of the uptick is from students coming into our school from outside of our building. What does that mean?
People who are moving into our community, so transferring, like family moves from Caledonia or moves from across.
Enrollment data does not show any additions.
There is one piece of the enrollment data that Tammy and I worked on, actually when we were working on reporting numbers to the state. So the numbers are off from September. Our reporting pulls in all of the students that we serve, including those that we have at Spectrum because we serve their lunch. And so when we figured out, based on the reporting that Julie needed, that it was pulling in those type of students that we serve, we fixed that. So that's why the numbers are a little bit skewed this month versus last month.
So I was gonna say, if there's
Brandon, you have another question brewing, don't you?
But they're still our students, right? I guess I don't
They
understand.
become our students. They weren't here at the start of the year.
Okay.
So then we didn't build staffing
That
to
makes
accommodate
sense.
for them.
I hear you. Okay.
But now we need to staff for them.
How, like, what's like the average time that they give you that notice? Like, do they just show up on the first day?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, as soon as they show up, we have to service them.
Yeah, yeah, naturally.
So, sometimes you have advance notice, but that's, I would say, more rare. I would say usually it's a day or two.
So if you had to throughout the entire district with the paras, did you have to reassign, or is it just high school paras, or like what's the?
Pairs are short everywhere. I mean, it's a.
I guess
We
what
don't-
I'm asking is, did
Oh.
we have to take paras from the middle school or the elementary to
We haven't
compensate
yet.
for that? Okay.
Yeah, because they need them too. So, we have the same number of staff doing more, is essentially what it comes down to.
So then some students lost it, or
Groups become bigger. I mean,
Okay.
a group that was 6 kids might now be 8 or 9 kids.
Caseloads is probably where you'll see the
Yeah.
most difference there. If we have 4 additional students that have IEP and have special education needs, then generally you have to spread that out, and then individual special education teachers' caseloads will become larger. That's probably where you're seeing the. My guess is that's where a lot of the stress level would come from, is just an increased caseload.
And also, if I may, we also have students that might be in a different setting, that might return, that might need more support when they return, as opposed, like their support doesn't come with them from our HVED folks. So we are looking at that possibility at the middle school right now, and so we're already looking ahead to that kind of need as well. So we're all in the same boat. So we shift, and obviously we prioritize those with the most need, and then, but they're all spread in our buildings. So that's another possibility. It's not just the movements, but students that are transitioning back and the support that they're gonna need when they come back.
And I'll add one other thing there, but sometimes we don't have as much flexibility as we would like. If a team IEP, as the gentleman said, wrote that there's a one-on-one paraprofessional versus paraprofessional help for the student, that's a big difference in whether we have flexibility or don't have flexibility with our personnel. Yes.
And can you just maybe elaborate for those that may not understand IEPs and
Yep.
what the legal
Yep.
requirements come behind that?
Absolutely.
And who is involved in deciding what that looks like?
Absolutely. So if I
Thank
go
you.
back, without getting way too far into this, so if a student is referred for special education and eventually it's deemed that they are going to receive services, then there is an IEP team. The IEP team is generally made up of a special education teacher, like a case manager, a lot of times a school psych, the guardians themselves, the student themselves, usually at least one, if not a couple, regular education teachers, and then an LEA, which would be a district official who is part of that IEP team. So they look at the student's needs, and when the IEP team deems that a student needs paraprofessional help, that ends up giving the district some flexibility in just, looking at their schedule, looking at what their needs, looking at what they're doing, and then we can use who we have as our personnel and gives us flexibility. When an IEP team deems that a student is in need of a one-on-one paraprofessional, there's no flexibility at that point. And that is a much higher level, I would say, that the IEP team decided on. And at that point, we have one adult that comes in and is working just with that student all day. And we do have a significant number in our district that IEP teams have deemed that through the years. So
with the intricacies of special ed funding, if someone is deemed to have the one-on-one para, how much of that is paid for by the state or federal?
What do we get? Would you say about half?
Yeah, a little over half.
A little over half. We probably get a little bit over half back. And,
okay.
And we as ISD 300 pay a little less than half out of our funds.
A year behind.
1 year behind.
Yeah.
How often are we reevaluating the student to determine the need of the one-on-one?
There's definitely so you've got your annual IEPs, but then you've got your reevals, and an IEP team is powerful, very, very powerful. And I don't want to give any wrong information right now, because I know in Wisconsin it was every third year. Is it in Minnesota also?
Yes.
Okay, so every third year is a full reeval where they look at the extensive, the needs, and then the IEP team decides what does that child need at that point.
So let's say somebody shows up from Tennessee, down south,
Yep.
in your honor. Do we have to honor their IEP that they
Yes.
developed down there?
Yeah.
We do.
So anywhere in the United States?
Yes.
How about Canada?
We have to usually.
We honor the IEP that comes in, and that is honored until our district then has a full IEP team, has had a chance to test the student, has had a chance to review the IEP, has had a chance to look at that, and then the new team, which includes the parents, guardians, and child, and the whole team, then the new team decides on the IEP conditions moving forward. But until that happens, we adapt the IEP that was sent to us by the previous district.
Okay. All right.
I got more.
One more, Brandon.
Oh, just one more. So you implored that if we know anybody who might be interested, send them our way, and we have people who watch the recording of these in the community. What is what qualifications do you have to be a paraprofessional? Like, do you need a degree? Do you need what?
There's a few different paths. If you have any type of degree, then you would be qualified to be a paraprofessional. If you don't have any post-high school degree, then within 1 year of hire, you can do something called the Parapro exam, and then that would qualify you to be a paraprofessional.
When you say post-high school education, is it specific to a number of credits or focus?
Any associates, bachelors,
At the minimum.
yeah.
So you have to have a
You said
degree.
60?
Associate.
Associate degree.
Oh, pardon me, thank you.
So around 60 credits.
Yeah.
Roughly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a third way if you have like 30 credits and something else.
So you also mentioned pay. Have you done any studies on competitive pay? And I obviously know if you have to pay more, it costs more, that stuff. But like, have you, has the administration done a competitive pay to make it more?
I'm not a part of any negotiation team, so that's not my role.
So pairs are under a contract?
They are.
Yes.
Okay.
They are, and
Sorry.
the next one
I-
comes up
I
in
naivete.
the next negotiations.
Fine, Brandon.
The next negotiations comes up in 2026.
Yeah.
You're asking good questions.
They are good
I
questions.
can say between the local districts and HFED, we're always comparing, because we're fishing in the same pond. So a lot of the things, we all try to be somewhat equal with that, but, the job they do is amazing, and I wish we're always trying to see what we can do more for our paras. They keep it rolling.
And if you want to see like a lesson in patience and dedication, like come and watch some of our one-on-one paras. Some of them have been with the same student for close to a decade, and they are absolutely phenomenal. And the things that they do, like, would make a lot of nurses sick. So they go way above and beyond, and these are people who are extremely dedicated. And to the point where there's a few in our high school who have delayed their retirement because their kids can't age out yet.
Sure.
So,
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Thank
Middle
you.
school.
Okay, back to some really positive news. We had our first Lancer Way Day last week, Wednesday afternoon. It went amazing. Just to throw in a little kid culture, I was in front of the entire school emceeing at the beginning and inviting them and sharing with the 5th grade that the 6th, 7th, and just when I said that, the entire auditorium did the 6th, 7th. So I was stopped like, oh my God, I did it in front of the entire middle school. And they were just smiling, thought I did it on purpose, and I did not. I was just trying to explain that the other grade levels knew what Lancer Way Day was all about. So anyway, I had my little moment, and I literally was shocked, but then laughed. It was great. And I think even the staff, I think I heard today, were actually making fun of me too. So it's all right. We also at the end had a little dance party because we had a little time to kill. It was maybe 10 minutes before MEA break. So I wasn't, no, let's just play some music. And Nicole Blockstedt was kind of running the music. And so I'm like, just got back from a wedding, and I'm like, YMCA. Let's do YMCA. So they did such a great job. The kids were well behaved and just had a good time. So to go into that break and celebrating all of their successes so far this year was a lot of fun. And then we had our first Breakfast of Champions, which we've incorporated this year, our Students of the Month, as well as our Rising Lancers. And that was rebranded. So either way, recognizing students for going above and beyond and showing their staff so early in the year how great they are and to their peers as well. And I just love it. The 5th graders got to come in the LanceMart, and I even during parent conferences last night had a kid, can I show my mom and dad the LanceMart? So it was just, it was super cute. I'm like, sure. So they are just saving those Lancer shields to go in. And again, a testament to our staff at really building up the culture, and it's been a great start for that crew. Homecoming this year looked a little different. We have been invited in the past during homecoming to join the high school, and some of the middle school student council members asked if they could do a vote to see if they wanted to go to the high school or have their own homecoming pep rally. And we have a new advisor. Lisa Mossman did a great job for many years, and Ms. Elson came to me, and Ostry is now, Rennigan is also one of the co-advisors, but she had come and I said, that's absolutely sure, fine. So they went, and each student council that represented their advisory, they took votes, and they overwhelmingly chose the middle school pep fest. I shouldn't say overwhelmingly, because some of the 7th and 8th graders, just a few of them were like, what, can we, but it all was democratic process. So we did it, it was great. We did sound, so I shouted a lot, but it was really, really fun for them. Very loud, but very fun. Then I also, again, parent-teacher conferences, we are having them this week, so last night, and we had consistency throughout, and from 3:30 to 6:30, aside from a moment lapse with the doors being locked, that saved the day. One of my parents just was able to got a hold of me, and 15 minutes in, but everything was really smooth the rest of the night. Very, very busy. just steady, I should say, steady, and lots of good connections with parents and teachers and myself. And then book fair, thank you to Darcy for at our last meeting asking about that again. Michelle has done a great job. She made sure those details got set up. We have a lot of parent volunteers that were in to help on Monday, and then also, thank you, and then also keeping it open in the morning so that our classrooms can visit during advisory as well, and then after school too. So that's been really nice, and it's so great. It looks beautiful in there, and the kids love it. I also wanted to give academic update in regards to concluding our fast bridge testing, and also sending out, the middle school had a consistent message this year, sent all the data from their fall fast bridge scores, as well as their MCAs from last spring in one mailing with an explanation of what those are. But I wanted to share as a group that overall our fifth graders in reading were close to 80%. They're at 78th percentile coming back after the summer. And their math was at 76%. That means that reached are on target, that are on target in meeting the score that they would like them to be at. Sixth grade dipped a little bit, but it's been pretty consistent at right under 70%. For reading, math, I don't have that score for you, but in seventh grade reading was at 81%, which is stellar. We love to see that. And then math was at 77%. Eighth grade was at 65%, which again, considering in looking at their previous data, pretty similar to as they've gone through. And then math was at 69% for eighth grade. So again, this year we were able to implement WIN or MTSS also in the fifth and sixth grade. It looks a little different, and they're doing their small groups and meeting those kids and providing interventions for those students that need it, so we can get everyone up to where they need to be, and even those other kids that need to grow. Let's see. Finally, this year when we implemented the new schedule and we decided on a 7-12 choir, we have a lot of kids in choir, and like 70, I think, 7-12, and not all the seventh graders didn't necessarily have a choice. So if they didn't do band, they're in choir. So I talked with the music department and Mr. Feldman, and we are going to shift our current fifth and sixth grade general music is going to offer a music class that isn't choir for those kids. I'm not sure right now if all of them will get that opportunity, but it's not increasing in FTE at all. They're generously like shifting. They're going to lose out a little bit on some of the instrumental music lessons then, but it's the right thing to do for the kids, for the whole group. We want to have the choir kids that want to be in choir be there, and it just isn't quite working. And so we're looking at a November 4th right before the quarter mark. Kind of because of the band trip, we decided that it would be better that week before. But parents have till this Friday to let me know. And some kids are choosing to go back to band. Some are choosing to stay in choir. And there's a group that are like, yeah, I'd like to try this other class, which is basically general music. It's going to have it's not a new class. It's just going to have more of a music history type of a feel. So just wanted to let you know that in case you heard from anyone about that. And staff members of the month, another highlights here. Josie Stanlick is a new sixth grade teacher. She's teaching social studies, and she was chosen, and so was Abigail Keenan. So she has done a great job already and was recognized by the rest of the staff. Any questions?
Heather, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just couldn't hear. So will it be a new teacher that's teaching or are they dividing the role?
Our current teacher that's teaching 5th and 6th grade general music is an instrumental music background. And so he is available 7th period to teach that section. He was helping with lessons for 8th grade during that time, but they're able to shift some things to be able to make it work. And we wanted to allow him also, I mean, we noticed right away that it was probably maybe not going to be the greatest fit, but we're going to give it a little time. I met with all of the 7th grade kids and had a conversation with them, just here, this might be an option, let's hold it together, that kind of thing. And and so it's going to work out. But I wanted the teacher to have an opportunity to plan for that, because so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, sometimes you have to do that when you implement a new schedule.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always obvious until the kids are in the seats, and then it's really obvious.
Meet them where they're at.
Yep.
Nicely done.
Any other questions? All right. Elementary.
You'll have better pictures next month to describe why I'm dressed like I am. Today was great. It was Unity Day, and a lot of orange in the elementary school, so we'll have some pictures about that. Some really cool things happening. We're doing all the same things that the middle school is, tracking data. I don't have those scores on the tip of my tongue for you, but we had a data meeting, and we're responding to that data by doing, in some cases, a class-wide intervention. If the scores dictate we need to do something different, the teachers have gotten together to do that work. We do have some grade levels that are at that coveted 80th percentile. That's when things are cooking and students are responding to the curriculum and instruction. That's what we want. If they're low, we're doing something different. And so the teachers have been given that planning time and are implementing that what I need time based on the data. We have had a number of special events happening in our building. Safety was our core value, and so fire safety, there's poster contests and visiting experts, and we're sending kids over to the fire station. We're doing our safety drills, so a lot of those have happened now. Some upcoming dates for you to consider. I believe Veterans Day is going to be on that list. I don't have details for you, but you're welcome to attend that, and we're going to invite our veterans to celebrate with us, likely on November 11th, but that's not on there. I don't have the details for you just yet. Spoiler alert, we're going to have a costume party this weekend hosted by Community Ed. I'll be there with the family. Should be a lot of fun. Great things are happening in our building because we have the spaces to accommodate those community events. There's the breakout space where the firefighters are presenting about safety to the kids, right in our hallways, which have that space. Our beautiful gymnasium with Lancer Pride Time, where we gather each and every month to celebrate the students of the month, the teachers of the month, the cross grade level groupings. We celebrated during Apple Fest with our own Teacher of the Year, Mrs. T. Deb Chernowski was in the back of that pickup truck, along with Ernster, the Friend of Education, and Jen Latta was in there, and she has ties to the elementary too. So we were well represented at the elementary in the Apple Fest parade, just celebrating with our Teachers of the Year, and Teachers, Support Staff, and Friend of Education.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Any questions? All right. Community Ed.
All right, it's been a busy time of year. We've got a lot of positive responses to our new full color catalog. I actually ran the numbers as I was writing this report, and we are already ahead of where we were for participation numbers over this time last year. So really excited about that. In fact, our French macaron class has so many on the waiting list that we need to add a second class. So the reason I really wanted to point that out is the more community members that we get in the building, the better. We really want them to see our facilities and get to be a part of the Lancer family as well.
What's a macaron? Is that those little tasty cookie things?
Yeah, like the little double cookie with the filling.
People get really excited about those.
They really do.
Yeah.
Have you had
Almond
one?
flour, yeah.
Geez, Nikki, I've had one. I don't get that excited about it, but I have some. Yeah, you're the example. Okay, all right.
But we've got some new instructors that we've met through other past instructors. This is the sister of one of our longtime instructors. So we're also able to increase our offerings, which is a good thing. Like Jeff said, we've got Monster Mash coming up, and then in November again, we've got our pizza and brainstorming event for adults with disabilities programming coming up in November. This is kind of the what I've been up to lately is I'm continuing to cover the position of kids company coordinator. We have not rehired for that position in anticipation of waiting for the final audit report, knowing that, we had deficit spending with the additional section of preschool the last 2 school years. So now that we kind of have that information, Julie and I will work together on, we also made some other adjustments. We should be back in the black very quickly is the goal. And yeah, Kids Company is going very well. It has given me the opportunity to reconnect at a daily operational level with the program. So we've made some nice changes that we've gotten good feedback from staff on. They know where to be and what their expectations are every day in our handy little app that we're using for scheduling. It's going well. Discovery Preschool, we had our Fall Professional Development Day, thanks to our Early Childhood Coordinator, Karen Schwartzoff, for her planning and facilitating a great day of learning. Our entire team of educators, our teachers, our paras, both gen ed and special ed, they amaze me all the time with their dedication to their craft of helping our littlest learners learn. So that's wonderful. Next week, I will be in the cities for the Community Ed Association Conference. So yeah, we've got a lot of good information we'll be bringing back. Any questions?
Thank you, Beth.
Question? Okay. All right. Building and grounds posted for your perusing.
Do we know when that tape is gonna come off the auditorium door like this? That red tape?
So
I just didn't know.
Oh, we might have an answer here.
I asked him that just this last week, and apparently that's all. The parts still are not in that. I think that's going to end up being like metal, like aluminum, that's going to match some of the rest of the outside, and that is not in yet, and that's why we still have an ugly-looking yellow tape still sitting on that one door right there.
The report, I think, said the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So
Fingers
hopefully.
crossed.
Yeah, there was some
soon.
goofy back order,
Yeah.
if I recall,
Yeah.
when we were talking.
And lights in our scoreboard?
So there are 2 things there. There are things in the works with Coach Donovan as far as working towards a new scoreboard, and that scoreboard is so old, and the light bulbs were so old that when we tried to get new light bulbs in time, yet even for the homecoming game, the 2 places couldn't get it into us. I think we tried La Crosse and Winona and every place near us, and the light bulbs did come in, but it was after the homecoming game. So I don't want to steal too much of your thunder. I know a lot of it's unknown, but that's
those
that's why
bulbs are not compatible with the laws in Minnesota now that he could get, so that's what took the back.
Oh, okay.
So it was because the lights for that scoreboard, I think they still sell them in Wisconsin, but you're not able to use them in Minnesota. So, so you had to order special.
I wouldn't have told anybody, but yeah.
I can just see you guys in all black, changing out bulbs.
Kind of run from the light bulb police. I think we'll be fine. All right.
On
All right. Any other questions for maintenance we shouldn't be asking?
No.
All right.
And I was kidding, by the way. If this is being filmed.
The ones we got in are the right ones.
Legal.
Right.
We do not have any illegal bulbs.
No, that's why you waited. Otherwise, you could have got them.
All right.
In the outside side.
All right.
Activities
We're
update.
kind of now, this has changed a little bit since we had this. The first one is, and Jacob touched on it, our girls soccer team had an incredible season, played in the state tournament. We had a cool send-off for them here. Super exciting to watch them do that and then battle and lost a heartbreaker last night on a goal that their opponent scored 3 minutes into the game and then played a 0-0 tie the rest of the way. Unbelievable season by them. They're super talented. They got a great group of seniors, but they got a lot of young girls too that are really, really good. So they're set up really, really good. They got it kind of rolling. They got a lot of great athletes out. They were just a special team here this year, and they do have a lot of really good girls in and out of the classrooms and in and out of their sports. So the boys soccer team, finished. They had the 5th seed, lost the quarterfinal game to St. Charles. We lost last night to Zumbrota. Had not a great season record-wise, but I think we have 3 sons on our team in here, 2 high school, 1 junior high. The kids, you'd never know that they were having. I mean, they fought like crazy. They gave everything we got. We got a little outhorsed a couple times. Our junior high teams had a great season. Our 8th graders lost 1 game, and we actually had brought a handful of them up to finish the year practicing with us, and they are super talented there. So looking good ahead. The volleyball team plays tomorrow night at Red Wing, which I will be heading up to, and our cross country team goes to Rochester tomorrow to compete, and we do have a pretty good chance to send at least one to state there. So we're looking. Hope Duke and Morgan looks like she should have a pretty good chance to go to state. So that would be outstanding if we can do that there. A couple other things as we got here, as we end the season, we're going to do our, we're going to send out our coaching evaluation to parents and everything, to the surveys, to let them give some feedback on all of the sports on both junior high and high school. That'll get sent out here as these seasons go. We'll start sending them out hopefully next week. Registration will open at the end of October for winter sports. We have a winter sports meeting scheduled on Thursday, November 6th at 6 p.m. And right prior to that, we have a coaches meeting, which will go through some emergency action planning and the coaches handbook that was new this year for them. It's a great place for us to get with all the coaches together. We get every single one of them that's going to be coaching in that season together for an hour prior to the meeting there. So that is something that we really like, and we think we do a good job. And then on the consent agenda, you have a late ad just because we wanted to get information out to everybody. We have hired a new baseball coach pending approval tonight. I think a lot of you are familiar with Cricket, Jim Schulze, and Cricket is pending approval tonight, is our new baseball coach. And we had a panel that consisted of myself, another administrator, a female coach, a coach in the system, and then somebody that represented both a parent and on that side of things, and then a student athlete in there too. So, and did the interviews about a week ago or so.
That's exciting.
It's good to know Cricket's real name.
I said nobody will know who he is on the consent agenda.
Yeah, I have no idea who that was.
All these years, really?
I've even umpired.
I knew that.
before.
I
He's
knew that,
Cricket.
Wayne. I actually said that. I said that to Jacob on the way down here.
Yeah.
So, all right, very good. Any questions for
exciting.
activities?
I called him, Wade, and I asked his wife, I go, is Cricket there? And she goes, Jim. I'm like, who's Jim? I did know.
Love it.
All right, any questions? All right, superintendent.
Okay, let's start with the Blue Ribbon Special Education Committee. I want to give you an update on that. There's uncertainty and some nervousness around special education funding. As you saw, our special education funding has increased quite dramatically last 4 years. It's also increased for the state of Minnesota. And so the governor and the legislature have formed a Blue Ribbon panel that is trying to find $250 million in cost savings within special education. I have been told by the various groups that I've gone to that they've done a nice job of picking the committee members for the Blue Ribbon, so I have really high hopes. I think the state of Minnesota is nervous right now because of uncertainty with special education funding from the federal government. I am nervous because the state of Minnesota is nervous and worried that if the Blue Ribbon panel does not come up with some effective ways of doing that they're going to look at reductions to locals, and that's more of the burden's going to go then on local school districts. And so I'm keeping an eye on that, and I will keep the school board in the loop as far as any updates that I get as far as the Blue Ribbon panel. Okay, next, the Paid Medical Leave Act. This is a pretty big deal. It goes into effect on January 1st, 2026. Myself, Julie, and Stephanie have gone to webinars. We've attended conferences. We've gotten all kinds of information so that we can get updated on that. we are ready to educate our staff. So by December 1st, we are going to send an email and go through a Smarter to make sure that all of our employees get an email regarding the new Paid Medical Leave Act. We are going to have everything posted in the proper places within the school district by December 1st. And then on top of that, Stephanie and I are going to hold a question and answer on December 17th for any staff regarding because this is new, regarding questions for any of our employees in the district regarding the Paid Medical Leave Act and how that might affect their decisions moving forward starting on January 1st. So we're sitting good with what we have to do, and then we're also going past that, and we really want to do our education for our employees. So that's why we're going to hold that session on December 17th. Next, the health insurance update. Certainly not anything pleasant for any of us, but our broker had gone out earlier and had initially recommended then staying with Medica. Medica came back to us in September and told us that there was going to be a 17% increase for health insurance. At that point, I went back to our broker and I asked him to go back out and see if there were any other bids that might be as competitive or more competitive. The broker did go out, came back, and nope, Medica was the best that was out there that we had. We were able to get Medica to drop 1% and our broker to drop 1%, so it ended up being a 15% increase, which is, according to then our contracts, a 7.5% increase for district covering the costs and 7.5% increase that will be on each of the individuals in our district that pay premiums for health insurance. We had a Q&A today after school right here at 3:30, and Stephanie did a great job with any of our employees that came and had questions on what is going to be the open enrollment period coming up. That'll span from January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. But that is the health insurance update. And last, okay, so the solar project update. So everything up until tonight has cost the district nothing. Okay, so I want to walk the school board members through what I've done to this point. So there's a grant opportunity called Solar for Schools. And the initial readiness grant was due at the end of July. And that was to supply a bunch of information from our district to the state. And then they would look at our information and say, yep, you are ready if you decide to go with the full grant application, or no, you are not ready. And some things we found out there is Excel would only allow us to add solar at the elementary site. So that's what we found out. And then since we got information back that we were accepted for the readiness grant, I've been doing a lot of work and trying to get a lot of information. Talked to 3 local school districts that either received the Solar for Schools grant last year or are in the process of applying like we are, to make sure that I was on the same page with what other superintendents were thinking in the area. That made me feel good about that. We contacted our structural engineer to get an idea of what the roof capacity could be at the elementary site. We had a pro forma done that would give information on the cost savings and about how long it would take to get back. If we had an initial investment, how long that would take to get back before we started making money as a district. Okay, so that's been done.
What's the result of it?
That right now, initially, we're looking at about 4 years, but it could actually be better than that. But I have, because everything has led me to the point where I believe my recommendation would be that we continue to gather information. That's what I want to, that's in the action items at the end of tonight. And then I'd like to talk to the board about what I would like to do next, and then answer questions, and then the board can decide whether they want to take action or not take action. But want to make sure that I got everything that we've done to this point. I think that's it. I think I will save then until we get to the action then. Okay?
Any questions for Wally?
Thank you, Wally.
Education Minnesota.
Yes, some positives from all levels or all buildings in our district, starting with first grade. I talked with Ms. Webb coming in, and she said, I asked how she was doing. She said she was exhausted. It is because they are always so busy in first grade. They had 8 different kind of either field trips or things within the school that kept the kids all busy. So they got to have like a runway for conferences, and they just do such a great job as a first grade team decorating and keeping things fun for those first graders. So there's a lot of pictures of them going to their different field trips and all the activities that they've done so far this school year. Mandy, you can go ahead and scroll. More than the pictures. This was their Indigenous Day, I believe. Some different interactive lessons that they got to participate in. Next up, Mr. Hansen was very active with Applefest and Oktoberfest, and they got to participate in the Torchlight Parade. I wasn't able to go this year, but the Lancers were able to participate and march in the marching band, and they represented our district very well. Next up, the 6th grade get to go to Camp Winnebago in Caledonia every year, and they have a bunch of different presenters, different topics, including like different soils, ATV safety, learning about rattlesnakes, invasive species, forestry. So the kids come back, it's an all-day event, and they're exhausted, which is great, and then they get to go home and come back the next day. Next up, Travis Lurkey, he put together a conservation crew, and on October 7th, they focused on cleaning up the area for Spencer Scheil, who passed away in 2010. And it's just kind of been neglected in the past. I know the past couple of years, Dave Kupachek has taken his advisory out and cleaned up that area for Spencer, but that was kind of the first task, talking with Travis, that he wanted to clean up and have the kids work on for the outdoors, cleaning up our space. So that was really cool to see, and he loves it. Travis, if you've ever met him, he goes a million miles an hour, and he puts his heart and soul in everything, and he loves being outside. So this, when he was telling me about this, when I was putting together my new classroom this summer, he came and was just like word vomiting how excited he was and how the kids are going to love it and he's going to love it. So yeah, he doesn't look great this fall, he says, but they're going to in the spring put in new plants. So there's 7 students currently, and they have about 5 hours to work on this space. So I'm excited that he's putting the time in for Spencer and his family, because that's very important. And speaking of Travis, he also is studying with the 6th graders about the different parts of the brain, and every year he gets out Play-Doh and marks like the brainstem and different parts of the brain, and the kids always have a lot of fun with this. He always makes sure that I'm in the room to help support kids, so they're not throwing Play-Doh or eating it or whatever you do with Play-Doh. All right, so then next we have some high school classes in anatomy. In science, they're creating different models with different skin conditions and looking at 3rd-degree burns. They also had a wound lab, and when I pulled this up, I thought that it was real, but it is fake, but they were talking about the healing process with these fake wounds, just as examples within class. Every year for biology, they investigate the process of decomposition on real pieces of meat. So this is them looking at the decomposition of meat outside.
Smells amazing at the district
Perfect.
office.
I was going to say,
I
what a
bet.
perfect El Nino year for a decomp.
We love learning. Next, for AP Modern World History, they have the Silk Road simulation. So just some fun activities that they got to do there. Again, with AP Biology, they're looking at nature neurons and analyzing the scientific research replication. And finally, for US history, they looked at the assembly line simulation for industrialization unit. So just keeping kids active and doing hands-on activities to make it engaging and fun. And finally, I just wanted to say thank you to Darcy and Brandon for signing up for our Meet and Confer, which is on November 4th, I believe. And Wally will get to be there. I'll be there with Jordan Hansen, our president, and yeah. So thanks for signing up. You guys have the form, so I'll probably send it out again once those other dates come up. So
Wonderful, thank you.
Very nice update. Thank you. Any questions? All right. Budget update.
Budget update, I have the balance sheet in there. This month I don't have that normal budget report in there because our audit went right down to the wire. So I just got Mandy the reports this morning. But I did want to, so we should be at 25% for revenues and expenses. And as you can see on this one, we are at 60, can you scroll up a little bit? I think it's 16%. I want to make sure I'm in the right year. Yeah. So a total of 16%. So doing really good on expenses. We want to be lower because this is September, so we have payouts at the end of the year with payroll. So we really want to be lower now, and we are. So that's great. Very normal. If you go to the balance sheet for the next one, this is updated through September also. If you kind of scroll down to the bottom of it, if you would, thank you. You can see there at the 3.45%. So we're kind of sitting right there yet as how we ended the year. I'm going to be, now that the audit is done, I'm going to send out worksheets to all of the administrators and directors so that we can work on a revised first revision budget right away. And then Wally will have the full look of the whole budget. He'll be able to see also some different areas to see what we can do in our first revision to try to help that fund balance. Because of course we do want it to be above 10%. Right now we're at 3.45. So I was excited. I think the first 2 years I was here, the audit was presented in December. Eric, who's not here, asked for it in October, and we got it here, so that was good. And it went really well. It was a lot of work again, like it always is. There was a couple new standards, like Luke said, that took a lot of time, but everybody pitched in and helped, and it was another great team effort. So, any questions for me?
Thank you for doing that on behalf of Morgan.
Yes.
So the 3.45 is historically low since I've been on this board.
Yes.
So we need to work hard to make sure we get that back up again. 10 has been high, so we usually been around in that 5 to 8% over the years. So it's different things we can do. We're not in bad territory yet, but we do have to make sure we're trying to get up above 5 to 8 again.
What are the different things we can do?
What's that?
What are the different things that we can do?
Well, we can either stop spending or we can try to raise more revenue. Or we can do a combination of both. You know, we haven't done a referendum here, but that's a whole different issue because we're going back to the community to ask for more money. We can hopefully work with the state in a number of things. I think you saw in there too with our special education. They have, you know, we're responsible for we're a public school.
Yep.
You show up, we have to educate you. And it doesn't matter what your needs are. And I think sometimes the state has to help us with that and go understand we're spending a lot of money because these kids have some very unique needs. So hopefully this is the different things we look at. The state, local, what we can do internally as well. Yeah.
May I add one thing too?
Absolutely.
We're going to, Wally and I talked about it today, and we're going to make sure that we continue to spend as many restricted dollars as we can, because then spend the restricted dollars if the state puts restrictions on can make our unassigned go up. The admin team and the directors have done a good job this past year on updating their budgets, so we're going to do the same thing this year where we have more than one revision so that they can look at their budgets again and see if they can lower their budgets at all. Maybe something needs to be a little higher, but then maybe something needs to be a lower and we can actually save a little bit of money there. So we're going to do more than one revision again this year, and then Wally's going to look at the whole picture. Because he really hasn't had a chance to do that yet, you know, since he's new. So he's going to be able to look at the whole picture, and maybe he'll see something too that we can change right away in our first revision. Okay, cover everything we talked about?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Questions?
Thank you very much.
Enrollment?
So you said those September numbers include offsite?
Yes, so it includes all of the students that we serve, but when we were going through reporting for the state of Minnesota, that, Julie, if you want to jump in, if I'm not explaining this correctly, we wanted to look more at the students that we serve within our buildings in these numbers that we're reporting.
So that's where that 12 difference is? Okay.
Yeah, we have 12 at Spectrum in Hillville.
Got it. Maybe asterisk that on here or something, because I went back to last year to look, because I was like, geez, that's kind of a big drop. And so.
Yeah, I can make a note on that.
And that all ties into then our funding. So
Yeah.
then we check the end of the year reports. There's a page that is on our, I think, 11-page ADM report that ties exactly to what revenue we get on what children. So we went line by line to make sure that we were, Mars was equaling ADM, we was equaling the budget and the audit, and then equaling what Mandy has, so.
Will we have a more accurate 3-month in November?
So this reporting that I'm showing here should be accurate with who we're serving in our buildings going forward. What it was doing is it was pulling from our system we use, and it was pulling what it was called all schools. Well, that includes those students.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry you've had to explain that like 3 times.
Thank you for the extra work that you guys did to find that. Be tedious.
Ninth grade's killing us. 66 people? What's going on there?
That's been that reverse bubble that we've had for years of the 9th and 10th grade are significantly small.
I had 2. I'm doing
I
my
know,
part.
you did your part.
Thank you, Darcy. We do appreciate that. Yes. If more people would have had twins.
No, and it's just an odd little blip.
It's a blip. All right.
Yeah, because you got 85 and higher before them and 85 and higher after. So.
Okay. All right. Student behavior.
What's going on with the elementary? Sorry.
Yeah,
It's like
really high.
The
70.
highest number there last year was 31, and now it's what, 49, I think it was. That was it.
Yeah, there are some classroom managed behaviors that are being reported in an effort to track data, so.
Like that weren't being reported last year type deal, or just different stuff?
That, I mean, it is what it is. I'm transcribing what's in Infinite Campus.
But no difference, like from last year to this year, what you're doing for reporting purposes, or?
It is the same process.
And the tracking, so just to clarify, is it behavior tracking so that you can come up with a better BSP and IEP type situation, or what is the tracking?
This is your request for us to give you this data.
Well, right, but we need to remediate somehow. So is that data, how is that data pulled for, like, what's the tracking results?
Yeah, some teachers are reporting in Infinite Campus classroom managed behaviors. So I transcribe them, I don't delete them. Because I want you to see the data that's being reported as incidents in our school. Yep.
And then the procedure is after so many behavior referrals, what happens?
We follow our flow chart that is part of our PBIS process. And so if there are 3 classroom managed behaviors of the same thing, it then goes to a next level of office managed. So yeah, there's a flow chart that each and every staff has been given that we follow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess, so Jeff, so like October we have some higher numbers then. So if the expectation would be that we're trying to address this then and move down when the numbers in November and December. Sometimes it'll take more than a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we might have this conversation again just to see how we're trending.
Yep.
To see if we're able to better help the kids who might be having some regulation issues in the class.
Right, but I don't just want the teachers not to report it. You said like the reporting is different this year than it was last year. I don't want it not reported.
Correct. It's a balance. We want them to use the system for behaviors, and we use that information sometimes when determining, like an evaluation of a student, whether they need additional services and supports. So there's a balance. We want them to report what's really happening, but also what I want you to know is that this includes some things that are being managed in the classroom, whereas really what I think what you're wanting is office managed behaviors essentially, or big behaviors. So I'm just letting you know that I'm giving you what is in Infinite Campus, which includes some classroom managed behaviors.
That's good, they have
And
the
those are
tools.
important.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't
Yep.
mean to
No,
interrupt
you're
you.
totally
Because
fine.
that impacts learning.
Yep.
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 And that impacts test scores, and that impacts everything that we're doing here.
Yep.
It helps us know too whether or not you have all the tools in your toolbox. You
It's
know what I
one
mean?
measure, yes. Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions on the student data? Okay. E, policy review. Someone want to talk to this? What are we doing
So
here?
most of the policies we just put on the consent agenda that Brandon and I have gone through, and we have approved and recommend that the board move and approve with, I think in general, those are all MSBA recommendations. Under the tobacco-free environment, put it up there. Yep, I can get it here. Yeah, I can't pull it up. There was a section about smudging and the use of tobacco, and I was unsatisfied with the MSBA recommendation for this one, and I wanted the board's opinion on what we could do. And how we could word it so that possibly maybe other students weren't in the building at the time when and if tobacco smudging were to be allowed by the appropriate building admin, or that their appropriate building admin then brings in the superintendent and or board before the tobacco smudging would be allowed. I have no problem with sage smudging and sweetgrass and what was the other one? Cedar. But I just felt like if we're going to be allowing tobacco to be burned in the building, we should put a little bit more parameters on it.
I guess my 2 cents is it's a cultural preference and we should not be swerving into lanes when there's a cultural or religious or
I think what,
that could
Darcy,
be.
I'm not trying to speak, so I think what you're trying to say is we want to accommodate it, we want to make sure we're accommodating it safely with other people that might be around.
So that it's not harmful to other students.
So,
in the
and I
building.
think that would be up to the, I'm gonna throw this out, to the administrator to make sure that if it would be to happen. This is, I think, highly
Isn't that
unlikely,
what
or
it's-
not very prominent
yeah.
in our district.
Is this your suggested verbiage or
Nope,
language, or
that's
is that what the
MSBA.
model is?
No, this is MSBA, and I think there is a
It's not-
state.
It's not, it is direct statute, that is word for word the statute that was passed in 2024.
So we can, as a board, state just right in there that we would prefer it be done when students are not in the building. Which is what I was asking be added.
Darcy, I just had, can you, or Brandon, can you explain what tobacco smudging is exactly?
Burning of
It's a
the
ceremony?
tobacco leaves in a, ceremony. But that would, other children would smell that, impact their health and safety. If they're in the building.
Kind of like me as a child in the 80s when I went to the bar with my father. It was overwhelming back in the day.
Kind of like, but we do have to protect all of the children in our
Exactly, I mean,
district,
and,
so
yeah, I got it.
that's why I thought adding that clause on the end there would, be beneficial.
So you wanted to have a sentence that just tobacco, because
Can that be, I mean,
I
it
guess
says the process for
Yeah,
conducting this is
that's
determined
where
by
I
the
was-
building
yeah.
administrator, so can we just assume that? I mean, I hate to assume, but.
I
Well,
didn't want
Wally's
to
rather
leave room
competent.
for assumption. I
But it's
wanted to
being
make
done
sure that children would not be in the building.
But it's being done with prior authorization from the superintendent prior to it happening, correct? Is what
At
I'm
this point,
reading.
it doesn't say superintendent. We could add superintendent we could add board.
I think we'd have to go with, administration, but preferably superintendent. I don't like when the board has to make a decision on something because we're rather slow. Because we don't meet that often, it's hard to get us together and be able to turn around something quickly. And for an accommodation, that's a state law or a legislative statute, maybe not quite law, but whatever it is about how we can accommodate it. I would trust Wally to make decisions that are safe for all people to be able to accommodate this along with making it safe.
I also trust our administration.
But I think that would have to go through the superintendent. Would that be something that you would be okay
we
with?
would add superintendent?
Yeah, the superintendent.
Yes, sure.
Okay, all right. Then I think that would be able to move. I think that would be a nice middle ground that we can accommodate with folks. Mandy, are you able to slip that in there?
Yep, so then
So then
this is
instead of-
our first reading, so then what I will do is move this policy, I'll add that information, then move this policy to second reading for our next
Okay.
board meeting.
Well, you okay with it?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay. Any other talk on the policy review? Okay. Consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Danny.
Second.
Second by Nikki. Any discussion?
Can we pull up the donations? There was a whole bunch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Good call. Okay, are you done doing that? Come on.
Well, wanted to get it a little bit bigger, but it's not.
All right. We have Claire Stanek for $100. Thank you very much. Lacrosse Adventure Films, $250 for the purpose for the Ski and Snowboard Club, Five Below. $150 for PBIS rewards. 14 Foods Dairy Queen for $750, again for the Lancer Mart, excellent. And the Conservation Minnesota for $500 for the Conservation Crew Project.
Nice.
How
Thank
much
you.
do we usually need for Landsmart to be successful? How much do you say we need a year to have that be successful, Landsmart? What's the idea of a budget for?
I have no idea. Like, I mean, so they actually just said, would you like this stuff? And so, I mean, we have lots of stuff right now. So I can't answer that because this is only the second year. And right now we have a lot of inventory that we bought on the front end last year. We have found that our 7th and 8th grade don't necessarily love the Landsmart. So we're trying to, crazy, they still want to be principal today. I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know, but you can. But, some of those other incentives. But I would say that like, that 150, I don't even know exactly. They were guesstimating on what that cost, but we have plenty of things. So I don't even know.
Right.
Is that a good answer?
So like, because I know you're doing primarily just the food eating out incentive or programs to raise money. So
yeah.
Like I'm
Mainly,
just wondering if I make a donation, what would I do it
right
to
now,
Landsmart or would I do it
to either Landsmart or whatever? So I would say for our general, we would have that in our middle school auxiliary general fund, and that what we are looking at is our off-campus, so transportation costs for those types of events where we transfer the kids to like the bowling alley we did, and we did the movie theater, as well as Breakfast of Champions. I pay for that out of that, and that gets spendy, and the more family members we have, we do that, and that's about 100 and something a month that we use that for. So either any of the things. I think the Landsmart is still a work in progress is what I'm kind of getting at. It's like I can't tell you exactly, kind of depends on what the kids really are saving right now, and even last year, just little fidgets. We got tons. Those are pretty inexpensive, but then they're always looking at the pizza, and that's where I donate. I donate to that. I went from Corky's to Quick Trip because it was getting expensive.
Yep.
Heather doesn't want your donations. I'll take them.
Right.
Plenty.
I said I need them. I just don't know how much we need for the Landsmart.
Or
it's mainly
PBIS
the
activities.
PBIS activities in general. We really would appreciate any of that. That's where all of our general fund goes to, is mostly our PBIS stuff. or general playground equipment for the outside and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So can I, oh, pardon me, you go ahead.
Have the restaurant fundraisers replaced like the yearly middle school selling thing fundraisers?
Somewhat.
Oh.
So I'm hoping that working with my parent group that I'm just organizing again this year, we can look at some other ways to raise some funds. But last year, so we really want to get the word out. We have 2 of those this year. They did pretty good last year. I mean, when you're looking at a couple $1,000s, we just realized that the grade levels were using that for field trips, and that's how they help keep the cost down. But 5th and 6th were selling way more because they get the prizes, right? So and it was a lot of work, and and right now they're doing okay. So yeah, kind of. Yes, and we're looking at other ways this year instead of having people have to buy wrapping paper or whatever.
And two, if there's like playground equipment that you can get on Amazon, and if you create an Amazon store, like I'm happy to just buy it off of, and you know what I mean? Because I'd much rather do that than make
That'd
my
be great,
grandparents
Jen.
buy wrapping paper.
Well, take it. The kids would love it. And if you haven't had, just on that, the new playground looks phenomenal. And they just put up, the kids had the input on the playground. We asked them, we had student council members last year, and they're just finishing up the last piece of equipment that they get to use tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all like, can we use it ready? And there's tape around it. No, but we can tomorrow. So it's just great for those kids to see that their voice mattered. And,
Yes.
and there it is.
Yeah.
So,
That's
and
awesome.
Patrick and his
Yeah,
group
it's
did a
awesome.
great job of it too. So.
Thank you.
So just to coattail off donations, I know it was brought to my attention Lansing Mart could still use some donations. The snack library can use donations, always. And the media library, right? Media library could use donations, so.
As in donations of money or donations of things?
Both, probably. They'll take whatever, I'm sure. I'm sure money's easier, because then they can buy what they need, but, yeah.
I feel like the Amazon thing is the way to go.
Like you could do your snack library thing too, and you can order snacks off it.
You stuck in the Lancer Locker. When you say snack
You're
library.
welcome.
Is
There's an
that,
actual elementary
is
snack
it called
library.
something else? Snack library called something else?
Nope,
Snack
that-
library
okay.
elementary
That is
and
at the
Lancer
elementary.
Locker.
Yeah.
Pardon me, so let's circle to that, please, quickly, because I didn't bring that up yet, and I can't believe I haven't. Lancer Locker, do you have any student-specific needs or items that are in need?
We just went out and bought several things that we were really low on. So.
Are there things
I
that you
think right now we're
continually need to
okay.
rebuy?
It almost varies by season.
You know what's coming up?
I don't. You'd have to ask Miss Madison, our social worker, who kind of takes care of most of that. We can let you know though.
Okay. Yeah, just
Perfect.
let us know.
Yeah.
And then before
Jacob
we
Jacob
go-
knows needs better here, but in the ones that I've worked with in the past, toiletry items and undergarments and socks have been a fairly consistent need in the past.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
And one thing that we are starting to expand into more is clothing.
Okay.
Especially things that are going to be less identifiable that, hey, that used to be mine.
Mhm.
So, like, especially Lancer apparel and things like that that are fairly common. We would love to have more.
That's a great idea.
That, like, something that says, like, where you went on vacation 2 years ago is probably not a great
Yes.
thing to donate.
Right.
Yeah.
Where is the donation drop-off recommendation?
Main office. Yeah.
During school hours?
Yep.
Okay.
7 to 3:30.
The locker across the river, did they only take new in the package or new with tags type items
so
to try to alleviate some of what he was
we-
mentioning?
The only ones that were necessary to be new and in the package were undergarments and socks.
That makes sense, of course.
Everything else, shoes, jeans, shirts, t-shirts, coats, everything like that, we took all that secondhand.
Okay. Sounds good.
I can show it off if you want to see it too.
I would love to come and see it
We can
again,
head down
yes.
after this.
So that was donations. Any other questions or comments on the consent agenda?
Under the staff employment, the long-term sub, is that the Spanish one, or is that for a different position?
No, that's for music. We have a teacher going on family leave.
Okay.
Spanish interviews tomorrow.
Okay.
Any leads on the replacement, or is it still dry?
Reached out to all of our local universities. One hasn't gotten back to me. One gave me a list of 4 students who are graduating. The other 2 don't have anyone.
You reached out for Turbo?
They don't have anyone.
Any other comments on the consent agenda? Darcy?
No, but on that, there was a school in La Crosse that brought in interns from other countries.
So the visa process is expensive for the school district. It also takes about 90 days right now. And you have to front load the money. They would have to get a Minnesota teaching license before we could grant them the visa. So you'd be looking at probably about 4 to 5 months before we can get it.
Even if it's just for one semester. Still, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's tremendously more difficult now than it was 2 years ago. There's a lot of restrictions that have gone into place of visas and getting people in. So yeah, I checked, but that's not a viable option.
Any other comments on the consent agenda?
Can we do a Rosetta Stone?
That's what we're doing.
No, never mind. No more
Or,
comments,
well,
Wade.
the plan
No more comments, Wade.
for the rest of this.
Thank you, Nikki. All right, let's proceed to vote on the motion, which was moved on by Danny and seconded by Nikki. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda passes. Action item, next steps for possible solar project. Wally.
Okay, so the reason I'm gonna have, ask for 3 approvals, or at least for your discussion and consideration tonight, are because of the deadline of the full grant application. That is due by November 28th, okay? Our next board meeting is, I believe, November 19th, and so that's why I'm gonna ask for these 3 things tonight. One, I'd like to ask for approval for $500 for somebody that has a background in doing RFPs to help me with the RFP for this potential project. So that'd be $500. I'd be asking for that approval tonight. Secondly, I'd like to form a subcommittee of up to 3 board members so that they get up to speed on everything that I know, and not only everything I know as of tonight, but everything that would transpire in the next 3 weeks or so with the RFP, with a couple other things that I'm gonna talk about here tonight. And then the third thing that I would ask for would be, if the subcommittee is in agreement with the superintendent, that we should go ahead with the full grant application. I would ask for $1,000 for a local person who has written these type of grant applications for solar to work with me on getting that full application done. It is a large and complicated process, and obviously, if we rate the grant correctly or not would be whether we would get it or not. Okay. So we can come back to my 3 asks, but here's what would happen in the near future. Right now, that the grant says 50% is paid for by the state, up to possibly 60% if you have at least 51 kilowatts and then satisfy a few other criteria. Okay, but we guaranteed 50%. 30% in direct federal tax credits. Right now, federal tax credits expire on December 31st, 2025 for residential, but they don't expire for schools and other things in those categories until December 31st, 2026. Julie and I will be listening to a meeting from the state of Minnesota on November 3rd, where we get verification that as long as the project is done in 2026, that we get the 30% of the tax credits from the federal. That leaves for a school district approximately 10 to 20% left to pay for the project. There are a couple other things that are not guarantees, so I don't even want to bring it up, but there's a couple other funding areas that I would look into if we continue to progress, okay? So again, I'm sorry, Wade, I know I made this long and a lot of information. I'm asking for approval for $500 for help to write the RFP. I'm asking to form a subcommittee with up to 3 members. Brandon has already shown interest, so I'd ask for 1 or 2 other members. And then I would ask if the subcommittee and the superintendent is in agreement that we should go towards the full application, $1,000 put forward to being able to write the full grant application by November 28th.
November 28th is the grant application deadline.
Grant application, full grant application deadline.
What if when you and Julie, on November 3rd meet, you find out that we won't get the tax, the federal credits?
Yep. At that point, I would no longer recommend it, and we would be out the $500 for the RFP. But I would no longer recommend it at that point because it would not be financially feasible.
What does 10 to 15% look like for our district?
So depending on the size of the kilowatts, I would say you're looking at between 120,000 to 200,000, depending on the number of kilowatts that you would put up there. Obviously, the more kilowatts you put up, the quicker your return is. And the pro forma looks right now, if we don't get any additional grant money, anything like that, it looks approximately, this is real early return, it looks approximately like about a 4-year return before the district starts making a profit.
What's the
on the
lifespan?
solar. The lifespan would be one of 2 things. It probably is more along the lifespan of the roof itself, because if the roof actually has to come up, you have to take the solar panels down to that point. That's why I also would not even recommend moving forward unless we had a pretty young roof like we do at the elementary school. I wouldn't be recommending this if the roof would have to be.
That was last year we installed it then?
The roof, I think, is 2020.
When it was built.
Yeah, when it was built.
2020, I think it's a 5-year-old roof.
So how much would we be going in the hole those first 4 years, paying extra to do this, or would we be staying status quo with what we're looking at for those 4 years before you said we're coming out ahead?
Okay, let's say I'm just making up a number right now, but let's say that let's say our cost out of pocket is $40,000. Okay, we would be getting about $10,000 back per year in solar. About approximately 4 year would be the break-even point. After year 4, the district would be making approximately $10,000 a year.
Okay. So, and you said there's other districts that you've talked to that have done that. How long ago did they do this, and what are they showing now?
Last year is the most solar for schools has only been in effect in 2024 and 2025. Okay, so one of the schools actually had 2 of the schools had the solar installed in 2025 from the solar for schools in 2024, and another district is working through the process of doing a full application in 2025 for solar in 2026.
So our competition, that would be.
What's that?
Would be potential competition for the grant?
Or is it more than one school?
No. Well, I mean, the state of Minnesota has.
Okay.
Yeah. They're going to decide who they're giving it out to. So yes, I guess we're in competition for anybody else that does the grant application, but.
But what I'm hearing is that it's so new, we don't really know how the other schools are making out from it?
No, it's only projection, no.
So after he said the grant what does the federal government have to do with this in 2027? Are they still gonna be putting money into this to subsidize this? The federal government, no money is going into it.
No, as of right now, all of these federal, I would call them direct tax credits, that is sunsetting on December 31st, 2026 for schools from the feds.
Homeowners are.
Homeowners, it's sunsetting December 31st of this year.
Yeah. So if we don't do it this year, we're not going to do it.
But I think what you're asking is, once you make the initial purchase to buy them, I don't think there's initial cost to run them, correct?
There's no other responsibility of the federal government to help us beyond 2026. If we install them.
Oh, it'd be a one-time tax credit.
It'd be a one-time tax credit.
One-time tax credit,
Right.
yep.
Okay.
And we'd have to have it, and everybody in the state of Minnesota knows this, but your solar has to go up in 2026 to get those federal tax credits.
Okay.
This will be, whether we decide to do this or don't do this, I can't believe many schools, unless they have like private funding, are gonna probably do this anytime past 2026, because the 30% for the federal tax credits, that's a big deal. I mean, that's a big deal, unless you're getting a private donation or something like that.
I move to approve all three.
Okay. Motion's been made to approve all three.
A second.
In a second, which would include
That
the
we would
$500 RFP proposal.
Correct.
I don't think we have to throw the 3 board members in there. That's just something we could decide without the motion. But then to move forward then with a possible $1,000 being approved if we move beyond the first RFP.
If the subcommittee and the superintendent agree, with all the information we're gonna get in the next 3 weeks, if the subcommittee and the superintendent agree to move forward with the full grant application, $1,000 then to be able to do the grant application.
Yes.
Okay. So that motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
So we're only gonna give the grant writer 2 weeks to write it?
Yes, because
They've already done it.
if they want to get started with it, that's fine, but part of the decision-making, I'm sure, by the subcommittee and by myself will be what that RFP looks like. Along with the November 3rd meeting where Julie and I find out if we're for sure on the federal tax credits. That's why I understand this is unusual, and I wouldn't even put it forward except that I think it could be a financial positive for the district. And because of the deadlines, that's why this is a little bit unusual with.
I think the small front end gamble is worth
Yeah.
and the end results.
Right now, it's a $500 gamble right now, and if it continues to look good, it could be a $1,500 gamble, because could we possibly rate the grant and not get it? Yeah, doubtful, but yes. Could we rate the grant and then the board down the road, or we get new information, the board decides they're not going to accept the grant? A worst case scenario is that we would be out $1,500. That would be a worst case scenario.
Julie, does this have to come out of the fund balance, or you got some little fund that can come out of?
This can come out of capital or LTFM.
Oh, there we go.
That makes a big difference. Gotta start with those types of things.
And usually they will send us a one-page document that
Okay.
exactly lays out what they think each year, if we have to pay the
Well,
break even.
that's a big deal.
It is. Yeah, it can come out of something else then. Okay, all right.
All right,
Let's go.
All in favor signify by saying aye about all the stuff I just said. Opposed, same sign. I will recap. The motion passes. It states we'll fund the $500 RFP proposal and, if needed, the $1,000 after that.
Thank you for explaining that.
Except for the general fund.
Out of any fund except for the general fund.
Do I
Yeah.
have Brandon and Nicole. Do we have a third board member here tonight that would be interested in being in the sub?
Eric Morgan. Yeah, he should show up, shouldn't he? All right.
He has grant writing experience.
Yes, he does.
Just for the record, I
Yes, he
don't want to
does.
throw him under a
And
bus,
he's
but
Are you okay if I ask?
he should be asked.
And I'm gonna do a
Okay, all right, so, motion passes, okay.
Oh, I just wanted to let you guys know that the 300 Foundation is having the Wall of Excellence on November 9th, and Cricket is being honored, as well as Spike Ernster, who was the Friend of Education this year. So 2 really big names are going up on that wall in our school. I'd like to see lots of faces there, and I have tickets, just not with me, but I'll deliver at any time if you want them.
What was the date for that?
November 9th, it's a Sunday, you're not doing anything.
You're available.
There's not a sporting event that day, so.
It's not, it's a Sunday night, come
Move
to
to adjourn.
Second.
And I don't drink, so I can drive you all home, so. Move to adjourn, and
I said second.
who moved to adjourn?
She did.
Oh, we're out of here, all right.
Darcy, I'll take
37 minutes.
Okay.